Everybody loves a good band playing live music. Or do they? Hong Kong's live music scene has had a pretty rough time of things since the mid-80s, but still manages to survive the roller coaster ride Hong Kong's entertainment industry has forced it on. In this episode, we'll take a look at the past, present and future of live music.
It takes a lot of practice and dedication. Got to be dedicated, otherwise it ain't gonna work. Even if you practice for 24 hours. You must know what you're doing, you know what you are achieving.
I think in any country it's considered a lower profession, or it has in the past been considered a lower grade profession, because they see people with the cases open in the underpass or something like that, and they think that they're beggars in the streets.
Right.
And but those guys are getting good money, aren't they? So, yeah, probably more than we are.
And no tax.
No tax.
You know what I mean?
There's a saying from Chinese traditional families, being a musician, it's called Yuan Kang Guai. What that really means is like you're playing Western music. How low can you get, right?
Nowadays, it's getting to be that it's a very rewarding profession, not only in money, also you get rewarded in money, but it's also very, very rewarding as far as a job is concerned, because you're always creating. It's far more rewarding to be actually creating something, and then you hear it played, and the people enjoy it and they clap. There's no reward like that. There's no amount of money can pay for that.
No, there are quite a few places to play. You know, you just have to get up off the couch and go look. There are places that you can play at, you know.
I don't think they're terribly well advertised, actually. I think they haven't got that together. We may be playing in one place and they'll have a completely different band advertised in the magazine regularly. So if you didn't know what was going on, you probably, think, oh, that sounds like a good band. Then you go there, and there'd be like Jose playing Spanish guitar instead of a happening funk band or something.
Actually, there are a lot of clubs that they can put some bands in there. It's just that how they look at it, and because they don't know what will happen. They don't want to take the risk.
Hong Kong has taken, they're still in a crawling stage. When it comes to the music scene, they're starting to get into it.
Whenever I get a chance, I get a chance to talk to my brothers and sisters here in Hong Kong, my fellow musicians, I really try to promote bringing all that talent together and setting a precedent, setting a standard that should be, that is, like I said, equal or better than anything that you can bring in from outside. There used to be a lot of, what do you call those, ballrooms, you know. Used to be a lot of ballrooms and a lot of musicians. And I was even in a taxi one day, and I told the guy, "You play saxophone, huh? I've seen you before." He said, "I'm a musician too." And I said, "Why don't you play anymore?" "Oh, I had to retire, no more ballrooms, you know?" So there's a lot of taxi drivers around town that they used to play, when there was a scene.
In the early days of Hong Kong's entertainment scene, live music was pretty much the only kind of nightlife. Not only was it very popular, but it also offered many varieties of music types, band sizes, and performance styles.
We've been doing this for some time. I formed the big band in the very early 70s. We didn't do this for money or something. When I say rehearsal, guys, everybody get there. We're doing it every week now, which is great for the big band or for the people to dance with, because a lot of young people had experience dancing with a big band. So this is really great. I love it. Well, big band is always rare in the world. One, it's expensive to operate. Everybody's scared. They think it's a lot of money. But we, as we are dedicated one. We just do it for what? Well, we are not cheap also, but again, sometimes you can turn things around also for our benefits or whatever it is. Because we really love to play.
For me, it doesn't matter what kind of music. I love all kinds of music, as long as it's happening. There's only two kinds of music, good and bad.
Yeah.
More and more, I don't really like to get myself involved in like a bad musical situation where I'm not really happy playing, what's the point? So at this point in my life, I was just lucky to be involved with like these guys and really enjoy playing with music.
What's frightening is once you get labeled, you should never get labeled as a jazz player or a rock player, because you never know the capability of individual players. And that's something that gets a bit scary. And so I say, hey, this guy's a jazz drummer or he's a jazz guitar player. He can play anything. You put him in any situation, he can play it. There are a lot of good musicians over here, a lot of good players. I guess my suggestion would be to have really good music. It doesn't matter what style. As long as it's good, people are going to call it, for sure, for sure.
I did one job one time where they kept on telling me to play softer and softer. I must tell you the complete story. Actually, they put foam around the inside of the piano so that the sound of the piano wouldn't actually go out. And then underneath the piano, they put a carpet underneath the actual piano, on the underside of the piano, and it was on a carpet. And when I sat down and played it, I couldn't hear anything. And then they came up to me and they said, "It's too loud."
Hong Kong entertainment has had a long connection with the Philippines. Filipino musicians have made up a large percentage of all local live bands for many years now, not only in the old days, but even now, usually through second or third generation musicians.
Filipino played a very important part in the music scene because even the backing musicians, the session men, a lot of good singers, they really did a major effect on, even me, I work with so many Filipinos, and they are really very musical talented people.
They're really good at music. They're very good at entertaining as well, and they're very good singers.
I think Filipino musicians has been here probably 60 or 70 years from our fathers and everything.
It was the obvious source of competent and very talented musicians who could play in that Western style for Western style nightclubs. And the tradition continued to this day, where a lot of the session musicians are still of Filipino background.
Because there are not too many musicians who are Cantonese or who are Chinese, they're good. They are, but compared with the Filipinos, the Filipino community is really big. In
reality, Filipino musicians are versatile. That's they think they're trained in that sense. Many of them is not that special, but they're versatile.
I won't forget the way you're kissing, the feeling so strong, we're lasting for so long.
It's a different concept in music, versatility. We can play anything. We can play jazz, we can play this, we can play. And that's what's needed. That's what the Filipino musicians are known for.
That's why you go away. I know.
Nowadays, in particular, there are more and more young Chinese musicians who've been abroad and studied and read music. But when you do sessions, it is fairly important that you can read. And the Filipinos have a tradition that's handed down almost from father to son, in that you must learn to read music.
See, I think there are a lot of Chinese musicians out there, but they're busy with Chinese projects, and maybe jazz isn't their thing.
Folks can see that the music business can be a real profitable business. So we're seeing more and more young Chinese musicians coming back from studying abroad in Berkeley or what have you, coming back to work in the cantopop scene, arranging, writing, stuff like that. So it's more healthy.
There are a lot of good musicians in Hong Kong. They're not utilised. They are not allowed to be creative. Right? They have to earn a living, but most of them you'll find it's not their main source of income. They're not relying upon it for a living.
There's never a school here. It's a fad, or it's an interest. The parents encourage their children to learn instruments, whether piano, guitar, or violin. Now there are not many of them.
Kids who usually come up to me and ask me, do you give lessons? I always say, what do you want to do? You just want to take 1 or 2 lessons? What would that do? I mean, if you really want to consider devoting your life to music, you have to make the move to study and improve yourself as a musician. Go abroad, go check into one of these great schools, and go from there.
I hope Hong Kong, maybe university or starting in high school, give them more before, because I remember before how we touch music is our teacher who bring in a wooden guitar and a few chords and let us touch the guitar. And that's how we learn. In our high school, we already touched the guitar. What is a bass? What is a guitar? What is a keyboard? We have that touch, you know, since we're high school. But now high school is study, get a credit, get an A, then go to the university. You know, doesn't have that music things.
A lot of the young people, they told me, they said, oh, I want to be a musician. I want to play in a band. Okay, so what sort of a band? If you want to play rock in Hong Kong, there are not enough venues for you, there are no audience for you. Okay, if you want to practice your technique, you better join a band in a small club. But they don't want. They thought they are, maybe some people are, that is dreaming reality. They don't want to go through that before they become a good musician.
My opinion is you better go abroad.
Yeah. Well, the Academy of Performing Arts do a good job.
Oh, classical.
Classical,
yeah. But no jazz or pop or arranging, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's a time when you better go to college and do something real. But and that's all wrong. Because there's plenty of work and a very decent living to be made.
For the average visitor to Hong Kong, or even resident for that matter, live music seems to be restricted to just hotels. But apart from that, is there a live music scene here?
I don't think there is one. An example I gave on the radio a few years ago was if you go to any major city in the world and get out an entertainment guide in Friday's paper, it's that thick. Right? But if you get the entertainment guide in the Friday South China Morning Post, it's that big. I mean, that's it, written by Brendan Delfino of What's On, right? Jazz Club, Manhattan, Revanche, and it's like, you know, same as last week.
There have been some difficulties, but we will overcome that. We have to make ways. If you let it, if you just let it go, then it ain't gonna happen. Like what we're doing now. We're doing it. We're doing the big band. It's people are really loving it.
We've been at it for how many years? I mean, so many years already. Yeah. We do see a gradual improvement.
It's up and down. I mean, there's no way we can control it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like before, the business used to be bad on a Wednesday, and they used to say, oh, it's because of the horse racing. But then the next Wednesday, it's really good business.
Yeah, sure.
And there's still horse racing.
People are missing it. It's coming back because many people ask me where can they listen to that. Because live music it's another ball game. There's an energy that you cannot deny. You know, it's the same thing when we play. We cannot deny it's great to play for the people. So it's the same thing.
I can't see Hong Kong becoming another Seattle or Los Angeles or Melbourne or Sydney or London. You know, I don't think ever it's going to be a huge breeding ground for live music. In the near future, I also can't see the room for many other live venues. They've tried it and they've failed. You know, it seems so tough to get people interested here in live music.
Sometimes when we bring our butts up, though, but there's no reaction.
So many times, that whole thing, people will walk in there. It's just amazing me that you're paying the entrance, you're paying the cover charge, and you go in there, and you don't even care about the band at all.
And check this out, most of the time, there's people that want to talk, want to be in front.
Right in front.
Of the band.
Right in front of the band.
Right in front.
And that's when they want to smoke cigars.
Right.
Yeah, wow,
I wish
man,
you could
really.
hear.
Come back. It's been in and out. It's been out in the late 70s. It's like when it happened, it's like you'll never work again. But after a few years, or a year or two, yeah, not a few years, about a year or two, came back strongly. Now it's going down. It's going up. It's going to go up.
Still, I believe the live sound is coming back because music is still about human thing. Why you like to listen to the piano sound? Why you like to listen to the blowing sound or the horn sound or the vocal sound? Because it's very human. Or the strings. Something are irreplaceable.
It'd be really nice to see a couple of good live venues open up here. I'd love to run one. I'd love to run the jazz club, you know, in twice as big a space on a street level and kick ass.
It will continue.
I was working at one of the first-class hotels here.
Check this out.
And I was playing piano, and one fella came up to me, one of the customers came up to me and says, "Hey, do you know where I can go and hear some good music?" and I said, "Just a minute, I'll just finish typing this letter."
That's a great one. I like that.
Since production for this program began earlier this year, the encouraging news is that several venues around town have begun regular live music nights. And there's also a new live music venue dedicated to live music, which has also recently opened. So things are looking up. Next time, we'll have a look at China's relationship and entertainment with Hong Kong. We'll also take a peek into the mysterious world of karaoke and look to the future of entertainment in Hong Kong. See you then.
Changa, chara, changa, charanga, a bailar bien la charanga.